Hey y'all, today we're discussing the question, how does a living trust avoid probate? If you're not sure what probate is, I encourage you to look in the notes below for some links from our website and some other videos talking a little bit about the probate process and how most estates have to go through probate. But a lot of people are making living trusts, and you may wonder why. The most common reason that I've encountered is the fact that a properly funded living trust can enable a family to avoid probate when a loved one that has a living trust dies. But how does that happen? When you die, normally what happens if the assets are just titled in your name, with a few exceptions, the assets that remain titled in your name have to be collected somehow. If they're owned by Daniel O'Connor, for example, and Daniel O'Connor's dead, for some period of time they don't even have an owner until someone is appointed to be the representative for the deceased person. And that's where the probate process comes in, and that's the method. So imagine if you die, I'm gonna give an illustration. If you die with your assets in your name, it's like me holding these various items of property. You know, here I've got pens and highlighters, different colors. Imagine this is like you own real estate, perhaps, your home, maybe you've got a business, maybe you own stocks, or there's a lot of different things you can own. But if you die, whether you've got a will or not, if you die and those assets are titled in your name and there's not some legally recognized way that assets transfer to somebody else, they're just gonna fall and scatter. And some of the pins may fall under a table, or they may be scattered a long way apart. And if you don't have a good inventory and roadmap for your family that you've left behind, then they may have to look hard for your assets, and some of those assets may not get found. In any case, somebody has to be appointed as your representative in probate court, and then they have to what's called marshal the assets, which means collect them all. But there's no secret database that tells someone where all your assets are unless you create it. So lots of times, some property's never found, and it ends up being owned by the state and the Department of Unclaimed Properties, and that's the last thing you want. So that's kind of, imagine just having things in your hands, and if you die, all those things are going to fall out of your hands, and somebody else is going to have to get permission, but the court's going to have to come pick those up. Using that same ideal of an illustration, imagine that a trust is sort of like this pen holder, this pen cup. You put all your pens in the cup, different types of property, and there's special ways you do this depending on what it is, and that's why you need a legal professional to help you. But when you die, this cup holder will simply just be set down, and in your trust, if it's done correctly, it will nominate somebody else that you trust to just pick the jar up as a whole with all the property in it. And it's a cleaner handoff where that person can take control of your property almost immediately. There may be a couple of papers you need to do with your lawyer, but in general, there's no court involvement. And because if the property is funded correctly, you avoid probate and some significant delays in access to your property. So let me just give an example of where this may be really helpful. If you have a business like I do, and you die, that business needs attention every day. Or let's just say you own livestock or something. That needs attention every day. And if nobody can gain access to it or control it unless they have court approval, that's sort of a mess and can cause significant problems for your loved ones. Of course, this type of planning avoiding probate, a trust by itself is not going to do the job. You're actually going to have to get that trust properly funded. And that's what separates good estate planning from what I'll call cheap or bare minimum planning. A document by itself is not going to do the job. And that's why it's important for you to provide complete information to your attorney and be sure that each one of your assets is considered in the way it's going to pass upon your death and also your incapacity. A lot of lawyers traditionally, including me when I first started practicing, didn't put that much emphasis on asset types and making sure that they pass the most efficiently. And I think that's really the detail. So just because you have a trust or just because you have a will doesn't mean you're going to avoid probate. You've actually got to have it set up correctly, and you've got to have it properly funded. And different types of resources have considerations such as taxes or payable in death or different things that you have to take into consideration, or you really it may not work like you think. And the reality is, if you're not a lawyer or a related professional, you don't know what you don't know. And I see families all the time that try to take the cheap route and it ends up being more expensive because they just didn't get good advice. So if you want to learn more, I hope you found this helpful. And but if you want to learn more, I hope you'll subscribe to our channel. You can go to our website and sign up for our newsletter. And when you're ready, please schedule a family wealth planning session with us. I'd love to be your advisor if avoiding probate, which that's not everything, but if avoiding probate is a priority of yours, I'd love to be your advisor and to help you get there. And if not me, I hope you'll choose another attorney in your area that is that's really thoughtful about this and will really get into the details with you, and that you'll confide in them enough and give them complete information so that they can draw up a plan and help you put into place a plan that keeps your family out of court. Until next time, take care.